Today we're going to look at the deployment for a face mount panel. So what we're going to do is line the panel up and set it against the surface of where we're going to be attaching it to so we can mark the holes. When you're marking the hole for drilling, you want to make sure that the mark goes towards the bottom of the hole. You don't want the mark at the top of the hole. If we drill at the top of the hole, then there won't be any slack or any play in the material of the bolt itself to allow the panel to move down. So if the anchor were at the top of the hole and the bolt were at the top of the hole, there's no way that the panel could compress the gasket at the bottom because the bolt is in the way. So you always want to mark the horizontal bolts at the bottom of the hole, and the bolts at the bottom of the panel you want to mark as close to the wall that you're attaching to, which then allows space for the panel to compress towards the wall to allow the gasket in the back here to compress. Normally we have two procedures that we would utilize when setting the anchors in the wall. In southern climates where there's no freeze-thaw cycle, we don't use epoxy. Anywhere where there's a freeze-thaw cycle, you need to use epoxy. If you're in a warmer climate down in the south and you're not going to use epoxy, you need to use a 1/2-inch diameter drill bit, which will allow the anchor to fit snugly and to screw snugly into the concrete. If you're going to use epoxy in the northern climates where you do have the freeze thaw, you have to go with a little bit of a larger bit, a 5/8-inch diameter bit, which will then allow room for the epoxy as you set anchor into the wall or into the concrete floor. We also want to make note that when you're setting the anchor, you got to make sure that the face of the anchor is flush or just below flush with the face of the wall. Every panel comes equipped with a label on it. The label will give the panel number. It has our web address, our phone number for clients to contact us. It has instructions on how to store, keep the bolts and the knobs with the panels, don't compress the gaskets when you're storing, just some general information that helps supplement the operations and maintenance manual that you're provided with. In addition, there's a QR code that you can scan and it will take you to a website which will give you various videos to choose from that will show you different deployment and installation procedures. Some of your gaskets, some of your washers will come already with gaskets on it, but if you don't have a washer on a gasket and it's required, then this is very, very sticky. You just have to pinch the sponge and then lightly lift up the paper and it peels right off. And then just line it up on the dock washer and you're good to go. Once we have the anchors set and we have the hardware prepared, we line the panel up with the anchors that are already in the wall and floor. When you're putting these in the wall and the floor, you do not over tighten them, you only hand tighten them. You do not use a tool, you just use your hand, and as soon as it gets tight to the wrist, not even the elbow, that's as far as you want it to go. If this bolt gets set too tightly into the anchor, when you go to remove this bolt after the flood event, it's going to pull the anchor out with it, and you do not want that. You want it in there loosely enough. All you need is just for the threads of the bolt to engage the threads of the anchor. All of your compression comes when you tighten this knob and it pushes the panel towards the surface that you're anchoring against and compresses the gasket and provides the seal that you need. This is what you would tighten the most. This is just hand tightened. It's very important that you follow that procedure so you're not ripping anchors out of walls and out of slabs after a flood event.